Miami stays undefeated. Got a dramatic win over Cal this past Saturday in the wee hours of Sunday morning. Got a big-time win last Friday over Virginia Tech. But in both those games now, Miami was a double-digit point favorite. And again, it took some dramatics to get Miami to a win in both those games. So if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, you're fired up you won, but is there any cause for concern for the way that you've won the last couple of weekends? We'll unpack it right now, but make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Miami Hurricane fans, again, y'all are unbeaten right now. We picked the Canes to be in the college football playoff and win the ACC before the year even started. So if you just now found this channel, we'd love to have you subscribed, and we appreciate you in advance for doing so. There is a classic glass half empty, glass half full perspective you can have on where Miami's at right now. The glass half empty is, well, we were darn near a 20-point favorite over Tech and needed a Hail Mary to get overturned to win the football game. The Cal game, you say we were double-digit point favorites, and it took a 25-point comeback for us to win the football game. That's glass half empty. Man, I don't love that we have to have that to go beat these teams that, quite frankly, from a roster perspective, we should beat the brakes off of. Understand that. The glass half full perspective is, hey, man, we got Cam Ward, they don't. Hey, we didn't play our best football. Happens. Friday nights it happens. Going coast to coast it happens. And we found a way to get it done. So what's the right answer? I think both actually have a pretty good amount of validity to them, whichever stance you're on right now. But here's the deal. Whatever you think about these past 2 weekends, what really matters here is how the team is going to respond to those performances. Because I do think you have to at least acknowledge that, like, okay, these are really tough spots. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you the reality here. The Friday night game, we said, hey, don't love that spread. I would not take Miami minus 18.5. Friday night, weird things happen on Friday nights. Tech, everyone's saying, oh, Tech this, Tech that. They're not that good. They had 2 losses, both by 3 points. They're a lot better than the record showed they were. And also the fact that Miami hadn't played anybody since Florida, like they hadn't played a Power 4 team since then. Like, I thought that game was a little bit tricky. It was tricky, but guess what? Miami won the football game. Okay, check the box, move on. The Cal game, emotionally draining win the week before against Tech. Cal is essentially, I don't want to say their Super Bowl, but like College game day was there for the first time ever. If there was a game the team was going to get juiced up for, that was one of them. Also, 10:30 Eastern kick. So, with that being the case, it was a late one for the folks coming from Miami. For the team coming from Miami. There was a lot of variables that made it a tricky spot. Now, again, it is what it is. Like, these are the rules you're playing with here if you're Miami. You got to find a way to get it done. So, I do think it's at least fair to acknowledge the spots are anything but orthodox, and that's what it takes to win at the highest level in college football is winning in unorthodox spots when you don't have all the variables lined up in your favor. And here's the thing for Miami. You did that. You did that in situations that aren't necessarily ideal, and you stayed unbeaten. But again, how concerned you should be, I think it's more of a talking point of, okay, well, how is the team responding to those kind of spots? And everything I can gauge, Cam Ward, even post-game, he's like, we're glad we won, got a lot to fix, we have to start faster. In that situation, it would have been very easy, I think, to be victim of the moment, overly emotional. I mean, feel grateful you won, feel fired up about the win, be glad about the win. And I think he was glad that they won. But again, if I'm just on the outside looking in, Cam Ward to me looked more so like, hey, we got some things we got to clean up here. And that is the exact, I don't want to say right, that's the needed approach for Miami if they're going to get to where they want to get to. Because make no mistake, if you play the way that you played against Virginia Tech and Cal in games against Syracuse at the end of the year, games against Louisville after the bye week, like, you're going to get beat. And getting beat, I mean, Miami will still be in the college football playoff race, but I promise you this, you would much rather get to the ACC title game unbeaten and feel pretty good about your chances to make the playoff, whether you get a bye or not after that game. So I think that overall, this team, from what I can tell, has the right mindset at quarterback, and I think that sets the tone for the rest of this team. But it is going to be a thing where this bye week has to be utilized if I'm internally, running things at Coral Gables, as Mario Cristobal is. There has to be a certain level of intensity treating those previous weeks like losses. And not losses in the sense that you come down on your team and tell them, everything they did poorly, but I do think there has to be a bit of a sense of urgency of like, hey, this was not good enough. It's not going to be good enough going forward. It was good enough here. Congratulations. If we want to get to where we want to go, standard has to stay the standard. Standard has to be set way up here, and we're all trying to meet that. Last couple of weeks, we have not met that with how we've performed in the first half of these football games. And I think there is a little bit of this danger and comfort of, well, you got arguably the best quarterback in college football back there for you. And as encouraging as that is to know that Cam Ward can throw the cape on for you and has thrown the cape on for you and willed your team to victory, you don't want to depend on that every single week. Honestly, if I'm a Miami fan, I'd much rather we get to utilize that later on in the college football season. I want to use that in the ACC title game. I want to tap into that when we get into the college football playoff. I don't want to use the extra special Cam Ward abilities against Cal and Va Tech. We'll take it, but again, it's not something that you really want to depend on right now. We said this a lot for USC, and Miami and USC are very different outfits. But last year, Caleb Williams has a similar level of special that Cam Ward has. Can take over a game. You can ask him to go win for you. But if you do that too many times, there's a certain reality that it takes away from the Cam Ward factor being your edge. It's more so just the way that you're able to stay in football games. I'll say this. I think Miami's roster is in a much better spot than USC's was. But the comp there, I think, is correct in the sense that you want to have your special players be the ones that win the game for you, not just the guys that keep you in the game. But if I'm Miami, man, I'm looking down the rest of the schedule, have a bye, at Louisville, at Georgia Tech, at Syracuse are all, to me at least, the games that you would circle as like your toughest tests. Now, Miami should and I believe will be favored in every single one of those football games. They have shown they have that special gear to the Hurricanes. They have that extra juice. They have that extra level they can play at that I think, quite frankly, if I am one of the other big dogs in college football, from a Bama to a Georgia to a Texas, like I think you take note of that when you look at Miami. You see that they have this special aerial passing game that can hurt you. You see that when the defense wants to turn it on, they have that level of intensity and they're able to adjust really well. However, is that the Miami team we see for 4 quarters at a time every single week? If it is, they're going to be right there in the mix of not just, I don't think, like the ACC championship picture, like we already believe that, and that feels like kind of a gimme right now. They will be in the national title picture. And that sounds hot takey. That sounds clickbaity. I get it. It is what it is. It kind of comes with the territory of talking about Miami every now and then. I get it. But I'm just saying now, Cam Ward is a national championship caliber quarterback. And I don't think that's a stretch. So can you have the other pieces around him play at that same caliber and allow him to, again, be not just the equalizer, but be the edge for you? I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to watch what they do off the bye week. Cannot wait to see how they respond to 2 weeks now where I believe the folks in Coral Gables would say they did not play to their standard. Still, you don't apologize for a win. You do some real introspection. You bounce back, and you get a little bit more of a normal spot on the road against Louisville after the bye week. So, let me know what you think about the Canes. Get at me on the socials, Instagram and Twitter, at JD Perkel. Let me know your thoughts and your feelings maybe about Miami after these 2 dramatic victories. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.